welcome to Shootin' the Breeze. My name is Tanya Kappas, and I am a cozy mystery author who is excited to bring you a fun podcast where we answer reader questions and bring you amazing interviews from your favorite cozy mystery authors. Come, hang out, and let's just shoot the breeze. Hi, and welcome to Shootin' the Breeze. This week, we are shooting the breeze with Twisty Tales and cozy crime author Heather Day Gilbert. Hey, Heather.
Hey.
I'm so glad that you're here. I feel like I've known you for a long time.
I know.
I think the first time, here's a memory, the first time I had talked with you through messaging, it came across that I was scrubbing a bathtub when my kids were at home. And so they haven't been home now for like 4 years. And so I'm like, I think you had a question about something. And I was like, so I stopped cleaning the bathtub. And I don't think I would have told you, I'm cleaning the bathtub. And so that was my first, I think, real interaction with you. But doing these interviews, I've met so many people I have had those kind of interactions with. So I feel like, I know you before I really know you. Like in my head, we're friends.
Oh, yeah. We're friends.
We are.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and read your bio, which is so interesting. I can't wait to talk to her about this. Heather Day Gilbert is an award-winning novelist. She enjoys writing mysteries and Viking historicals. She brings authentic family relationships to the page, and she particularly delights in heroines who take a stand to protect those they love. Avid readers say Heather's realistic characters, no matter what century, feel like best friends. When she's not plotting stories, this native West Virginian can often be found hanging out with her husband and 4 children, playing video games or reading Agatha Christie novels. That is like a packed bio. So first off, you live in do you still live in West Virginia?
Yes.
You do. And are your 4 kids grown, or what are their ages now?
They range in age. My oldest, he is married and he's in grad school. And then my next daughter just graduated from college. And then I have another college age daughter. And then I have a 9-year-old. So, we adopted her. So there's a big age range, but she's getting ready to wind up her school year here too. So
that is awesome. I love that. And I love so much that you adopted too. I think that's great.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
We were really blessed to do that. Yeah. And I love West Virginia. And, I set my books, actually, my Barks and Beans series is set here. So I was born here. My mom was born in the house that I live in. So, and she's next door. My mom and dad are next door. So it's kind of it's a special place to live.
Yeah, that is special. I love that. I love that so much. I do want to ask about the video gaming. Are you a video gamer?
My son would probably say I'm not the best video gamer. Because he was beating me on video games probably when he was about 6 years old. So, but I like video games to blow off steam. I mean, back in the day, I loved longer puzzle games like Tomb Raider and things like that. But nowadays, I don't have time to figure all those puzzles out. So I actually just do kind of first-person shooter games. I know I sound like
I love it.
But it helps me too, like when I'm trying to brainstorm for my books. It helps me when I have to just completely step away from what I'm doing and not be thinking about the plot or anything. And then usually it kind of clears my head and then I can come back to it. So, yeah.
Oh, gosh, I've never heard an author say that clears their head. I have heard authors say, I take a walk or I go for a drive.
Yeah.
Or
I do that too. And then I do have a video gaming sleuth in my exotic pet sitter series. That's another cozy series. So Belinda Blake also is like a professional video gamer, but I don't think that's the most popular, with cozy mystery readers, because it's kind of weird, to be a mom gamer, but I don't know.
That's okay. That's okay. You're blazing that trail and I love it. And you know it.
Yeah.
Also, you said that you have Viking historicals. Tell me a little bit about this whole, Vikings are so popular, everything. So tell me about these historicals. And, I know we're not here to really talk about that, but it's so interesting. I think readers love to get to know the authors that we read. And if they have found you through Cozy, they might not know about your Viking historicals or know like what drew you to them, or it's just amazing, like any kind of research for Viking historicals.
Oh yeah, it's a whole different ball game from cozies, and like my cozies are set near here, so I can go visit the town and everything. But yeah, I have, Viking heritage and stuff. And so I got really interested in those, like Eric the Red and Leif Erikson. I'm supposed to be related to them. So I started reading about them. And I read about a couple of women who came over to North America before Columbus, Viking women. And so I wrote a couple of books about those. Those were actually, God's Daughter was my first book. But yeah, it's really cool because God's Daughter was just featured in a TV series, a documentary series on Amazon Prime. And I was interviewed to talk about Gudrid Torbjarnardóttir. That is the woman I wrote about, the real woman who sailed to North America. So you can watch it on Prime. Oh. It's called Templars. The series is called Templars, but you have to do episode 3, which is called Gudrid the Fair. But yeah, on that episode,
we'll link it in our show notes for sure.
Okay, yeah. I think it says explicit or something. It's nothing explicit. They do a statue of a Viking woman, of her sister-in-law, who was known to have stripped her shirt and for when she fought the natives in the land and slapped her sword on her chest. So they show that in a museum, and that's basically the extent of it. So it's clean. It's just, it's a documentary.
Oh, but that's so cool. And they actually came to you to do that. I love that.
It was really an honor.
That is really neat. So, and are you still continuing those or not?
I have finished. That was just a 2-book series. And then I have another Viking historical, the second in another series coming out in June. But those are completely fictional, so they're not based on real people. But that's the Tavland Viking series. So, and that will probably be it for my Viking efforts for a while, even though it's always really close to my heart. Because I really love mysteries. I found out it's kind of easy to write what you love to read. So that's kind of what I found. I grew up with Agatha Christie, and, my dog's name is Agatha.
Yeah.
So I kind of veer that way now. Yeah.
Well, and that's why we're here. We're actually here because Heather and I are part of the Twisty Tales and Cozy Crime Prolific Works. And I'm so excited that right now you guys can get this book for free and get introduced to the Barks and Beans Cafe Mystery Series. Isn't this the cutest cover ever? And this is what we're here to talk about today. And first, let's kind of talk about the actual series itself. Now, you have 7 in the series right now with one pre-order, correct? Okay, so let me go ahead and read about the series, and then we're going to ask a few questions about that.
Okay.
The Barks and Beans Cozy Mystery Series. Welcome to Bark and Beans Cafe, a quiet place where folks pet shelter dogs while enjoying a cup of Java, and where murder sometimes pays a visit. Join siblings Basie and Bo Hatfield as they sniff out crimes in their hometown with plenty of dogs along for the ride. The Barks and Beans Cozy Mystery Series features a small town, an amateur sleuth, and a no swearing or graphic scenes. So those are all the things that cozy mystery readers love, but they also love a good dog. Fur baby. And so all the covers do have obviously a dog on there, but it seems like it's the same dog. So first, let's get the fur baby out of the way. Is this the same dog that's throughout the whole series? And I've read the series, so I know, but for our readers.
It is. It's the amateur sleuth Macy Hatfield. It is her Great Dane that's actually a rescue dog himself or a shelter dog, because in the first book, his owner is murdered. And so he winds up in the shelter and she adopts him. So he's there from the very first book. And he will obviously be there throughout the series because I would never kill him off.
Oh my gosh, no. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But yeah, I couldn't do that either. I don't know if our cozy mystery readers would allow us to do that.
They would hate it. But but there are tons of shelter dogs in there too, because like I say, at the cafe, they're every day they bring in shelter dogs. And the really cool thing has been that I can talk to my readers, and I get suggestions from my readers as to their favorite dogs, their beloved dogs, whether living or dead, and they will send me pictures and descriptions of their dogs. And so I work those dogs into the series as the shelter dogs. So in House Blend, you'll find Lola and Thistle, and that's two different readers' dogs. And the descriptions, I contact them to make sure I get kind of their actions correct and everything. So it is just a really fun way to kind of give a tribute to my readers' beloved dogs.
I'm a dog that.
But I have a lot of cats. There are cats in the series too for cat lovers. There are a lot of crazy cat interactions too. So
yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'm an animal lover, but when I first read your series, I mean, that's what drew me, because it was, doing something good with animals, and I love that. And I think I read it back in, was it like 2020? I read through the pandemic, and so. And it was like did you start the books then in 2020?
I did. Yeah. I think I talked to you probably in 2019, because I did have it out on submission and I was thinking about going traditional with it, but they wanted me to change it out of West Virginia. That was sort of a political hotbed at that time. It's pretty polarized. And so they wanted me to change it to Virginia, and we've lived in Virginia. I love Virginia, but I was like, it has to be West Virginia. I mean, that's part of the point, is I want to bring this state to region. But anyway, so I decided to publish it myself. In 2020, I got the first 3 books out, and I've kind of slowed my pace. I keep up your pace, Tanya, but I don't know. So I'm kind of, I'm down to maybe 2 to 1 books a year. I'm actually working on a couple different projects this year, but I do want to kind of amp up the books in the Barks and Beans in the future. Yeah.
Well, 8's a lot.
Yeah. I'm looking for 10, and then we'll see,
Yeah. We all say that. Then we go on beyond, right? But don't give me any accolades. I don't have any children at home like you do. And when I had children at home, I did not write as much as I do now. But now I have nothing but time. So what else am I going to do?
Well, you're a great example too.
But we're not here to talk about that. Let's talk about House Blend. So I'm going to read the description of this, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this one. Welcome to Barks and Beans Cafe, a quiet place where folks pet shelter dogs while enjoying a cup of Java, and where murder sometimes pays a visit. Renovations are underway on the house across the street from the Barks and Beans Cafe, but they come to a screeching halt when the decade-old bones of a missing local woman are unearthed in the basement. That gives me chills. When house flipper Harper shares her concern that no one will buy the place if a murder happened in it, Macy volunteers to help her new friend and do some cold case sleuthing. Of course she does. As she questions those who knew the victim, Macy turns up a fresh lead. But when she makes the mistake of knocking down a retaining wall of lies, she places herself in the demolition zone with a desperate killer. Join siblings Macy and Bo Hatfield as they sniff out crimes in their hometown. With plenty of dogs along for the ride, the Barks and Beans Cafe Mysteries feature a small town, an amateur sleuth, and no swearing or graphic scenes. I love that so much. So does this fall in the place of somewhere in the series? And I say that because, again, I always say that cozy mysteries are really kind of standalones. And the only thing that make them in the series are your sleuth, like Macy and Bo, and the small town and the cafe. It's just like revisiting, old friends. So that's really, these books can all stand alone. So does this go somewhere particular in the series, or is it just also a standalone novella?
It is a standalone novella, but I did work in some of my characters from book 7. So it's sort of between book 7 and 8 as far as just timeline, and like the fact that Macy is with her boyfriend now, whereas in the first 3 books, you're not sure which guy she's going to get with.
We know that part.
But it's not going to be a spoiler, if anybody reads it. I was trying to work in some of the favorite characters that have sort of come into the series, like Macy's neighbor Vera is a a really important part. It's almost like a found family type of person in her life because her great aunt who had raised them has died. And so now she has this neighbor who was actually friends with her aunt. And so Vera's in this one, a town kind of quirky gossip type of character named Matilda Crump is in this one. And she is just so hilarious. She's great to write.
Yeah.
So I wanted to work in like characters that have made their way into the series, but it is completely standalone. So you won't have any spoilers outside of the fact that you'll know who Macy is dating.
Yeah. And I think that with this one, readers will get those quirky characters and be like, oh, I've got to go back and start the series from the beginning. Yeah. So I love that. I love it so much. And so you're planning on 10 as of right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can go to 20. I don't know. Because I kind of have a dating relationship that I'm like, oh, how long do I need to, because at some point, some people are going to get married. So it's sort of like, well, I don't know. And then there's an overarching villain through the series, Leo Moreau. And then eventually you'll find out it's his wife is also involved in some ways. So, yeah. So those kind of arcs I have to wrap up and things like that. But
I love it. I love it. Now, can you tell us where we can stalk you? Of course, I'll have all the links below, but tell our readers where you can be found.
Oh, sure. It's at heatherdaygilbert.com for pretty much everything. I have an Amazon author page, but all my books are on my home website. And then I have an author Facebook page and another place where I've been trying to be more active is Instagram. So I post a lot of pictures of like my perennial flowers. That's something else I like, so I have like my latest peony opened up and just stuff like that if you're into that on Instagram.
Oh, yes. Readers love all the things that we do.
Yeah. So, but I don't post like kids pics. That's usually occasionally I will do in my newsletter. So it's good to follow my newsletter too. But it's all on heatherdaygilbert.com. You can find all those links.
The link on the newsletter. Okay. And then what is one last thing that you would like to say to readers before we go?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I feel like it's been such fun doing this series and being able to interact with readers and hear about their dogs. And so if you have special dogs, I'd love it if you'd join my newsletter and tell me about your dog. And I will consider, working it into one of my books. And I'm excited to be part of this Twisty Tales group. I'm just like, this is an amazing deal of free books by these top selling, cozy authors. So I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Which this book is for free right now through the Prolific Works and Cozy Crime, the Twisty Tales and Cozy Crime Prolific Works, which I'll have the link to Heather's book, House Blend, the actual link to get her book to download for free. And also while you're there, we'll give you an option to join her newsletter. And we want you to join her newsletter where you can send in your amazing pictures of your dogs. I do have to tell you, I went to Normal, Illinois. There's a town called Normal, Illinois that I was born, and I went to visit the Rivian. It is a electric truck company that they're doing all the Amazon. Amazon kind of went to the electric vans. They're doing all Amazon. So I went and I toured the plant. So inside the plant, they have a coffee shop. So interestingly enough, every cup has a dog on it, and then it has like a history of the dog. And they were like, I'm like, what's up with the dogs? And they were saying, they are employee dogs. And so they send in a picture of their dog to be featured on the coffee cup at the specific coffee shop at the Rivian plant in Normal. It's really in Bloomington, Bloomington, which is right next to Normal. But anyways, and so I'm like, well, what about the cats? Because I love cats. They're like, we don't do cats. I'm like, well, I'm a little offended. But this reminds me of what you're doing with your readers. So I encourage, and it was it made me love that company even more, even though I can't afford one of their fancy trucks. It made me love the company even more. And that's what we love about cozy mystery authors like you that personalize it to us readers. It makes us feel like we're along for the journey. And I know I can speak for all the readers that are listening and say thank you. We love that. And
Wow.
just feeling part of your community is so special. So while you're on the Twisty Tales and Cozy Crimes site picking up her free book that's only free till September, and then I don't know what Heather's going to do with her, but I know we'll be charging for my book. So
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll be charging for it. So while it's free, grab that book, and then it gives you the option if you want to sign into her newsletter, then go ahead and just click there and sign in. And how often do you send your newsletter out, Heather?
It's about once a month. So yeah.
So there you have it.
Deals.
I love that. Well, Heather, thank you so much for doing this interview. I truly appreciate it. It looks like we've gone 20 minutes, and usually these are like 10.
Oh,
but
wow.
I was excited to talk to you, so here we are.
Yeah, I was too.
Well, thank you so much for coming. And everybody, thank you so much. And grab her book. All the links, everything to follow her and stalk her are down below. Talk to y'all later.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
What a fun interview. I would love to thank today's guest for sharing with us their edition in the Twisty Tales and Cozy Crime Prolific Works giveaway, year-long giveaway. So be sure to grab this episode's book for free, and you can do that by going to the show notes and grabbing that link. And also, don't forget to be sure that you follow and stalk this week's Spotlight author. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week on Shooting the Breeze.